Welcome to Busted Speakers. I'm Kush,
And it's Alex.
and today we're reviewing Memories Do Not Open by Chainsmokers. You want to do the intro for this one? I don't feel like talking about them.
Why not, Kush?
I don't like the Chainsmokers. Never have. I don't think I ever will. But
Okay, So the Chainsmokers are a duo formed of Andrew Taggart and some other guy, and they formed in 2012, and they came into prominence via their 2014 novelty hit #Selfie, which is a terrible song, and I still think is their worst song, because it is really just a really vapid with annoying spoken word parts of people talking about having a selfie. So they make a half-decent song to get some critical re-evaluation with Roses, and then just avalanche us with these generic EDM bread and butter cookie cutter hits. Don't Let Me Down and Closer both had good aspects, probably mostly production-wise. Remember, I just want to say quickly before we go into this, I like pop music, although EDM, which is the biggest form of pop music in the commercial, is a strain of pop music I find very regrettable, because all it does is just add a drop beat after a chorus to make it sound catchier than it is. I don't know if you feel the way, but like the same way about EDM, Kush.
I think EDM on its own is something different. I think that it can be good. I haven't heard really like an outstanding EDM album yet. EDM
and this does not change our view on that.
EDM pop music, the problem with that is that it's very superficial. It comes to the thing where even though the Chainsmokers are like, people actually like it, and I don't know why people like it, but I just feel like the EDM and pop music is there only to generate that danceability aspect to it, which most people like in music.
Yeah,
I
we have to
don't.
remember what EDM stands for, electronic dance music.
Yes.
It is that, but electronic dance music, just listen to house or techno. They're both technically still electronic dance music, and they sound better and funkier and more interesting. Or even go on to IDM, which is intelligent dance music, which is like Aphex Twin. EDM is like vapid producers using other vocalists to make pop hits, basically.
Yeah. For this album right here, this piece of garbage that I had to listen to.
Whoa.
There was not. So the thing is, like, at least with Pitbull's album, even though I hated it, there was some sort of enjoyment in the fact that I was listening to this man, just go off on random tangents and talk about random things for 40 minutes, whatever it was. This album had nothing memorable to it.
Yeah, well,
it was the most bland and plain and boring album I have listened to in a long time.
a problem with that is that Andrew Taggart, who initially was just one of the two producers of the band, two members basically, he used to be just a DJ guy, but then he came out at the forefront as the lead vocalist, basically, on Closer and Paris. And I think even a little bit on Something Just Like This, even though I'm pretty sure that's just Chris Martin from Coldplay. Deadpan vocals of all time, the most bland. Not even that bad, just no emotion, no depth. It's just the most bland vocals ever. I'd say.
So I want to talk about Something Just Like This. So that was like the big single for this album. The one with Coldplay. Well, one of the other one's Paris, right?
Yeah.
So that was like the one.
Can I just reevaluate, because I don't want to talk about this album, my view on Ghost Stories by Coldplay, the ambient pop.
Sure.
I like that album now. I re-listened to it and I found it somewhat enjoyable. That's all.
Okay.
I just wanted my opinion of that out there.
So here's my problem with the Chainsmokers. Memories Do Not Open. Well, at least with that song, Something Just Like This. That song was with the Coldplay feature, and I felt like that could have been good. Cause I feel I like old Coldplay. They have some good albums out there. The new stuff is bad.
Oi, I was just defending one of them.
Yeah, but like it's not that it's not the worst thing ever, but it's nothing what they used to be.
Well, I just remember I was like trashing them when they went in their ambient pop phase, and I was like, oh, I haven't actually listened to that since it came out. Maybe it's just because A Head Full of Dreams is a really bad album that I liked it more in comparison, and I thought it had some nice sounds. But something just like this is actually quite similar to that, just because it's more downplayed a little bit. It's got to #1 in the UK because whenever a hot band or singer's featured on a cool dance or DJ pop producer duo like these guys or DJ Snake, it's apparently the most appealing way to ever have a hit. So
the song, I was listening to it and I was like, this song is oddly familiar to something. And I played it side by side with Hymn for the Weekend by Coldplay. And I want to say the bass is the exact same. The bass line to the entire song is the same for both those songs.
And it's not even that, it's the instrumental is the exact same to their Chainsmokers last, one of their last hits, Roses, which is their only good song that people generally call decent. It's apparently the exact same instrumental. I've not compared them side by side, but everyone's saying it, so I have no reason to doubt them. So that's weird. That's like plagiarism from both the Chainsmokers and Coldplay of their own songs. That's really weird.
I think they're just trying to test us see if we were dumb enough to listen to the same song again, fall in love with it again, which most people have.
Well, the UK have #1. I think it did quite well in America too.
Did you realize that they had two female they had multiple female vocalists, but one of them,
well, one was probably Emily Warren, since she has millions of
Emily Warren sounded
backing vocalists.
She sounded exactly like Rihanna. Did you notice that?
The weird thing about her is that she could sound very different on different songs, like very unrecognizably different. I had to check it was still her.
Yeah, but on both the songs here, she reminded me way too much like Rihanna, and I think both the songs with her were really, really boring and didn't have much going for them.
Don't say in My Type.
My Type was terrible.
I liked Don't Say, though. I thought that was like the closest to being an actually good song, because I thought Emily has a nice voice, and whatever else you want to say, the Chainsmokers know how to write a catchy song, and having her sing it doesn't feel forced, doesn't feel elongated. It doesn't actually have a beat drop, I don't think. It's probably the best Chainsmokers song I've ever heard, even though that's not much of a compliment, really. And I don't know, I just thought that was a nice song, Don't Say. I don't know what you thought of it.
I thought that was okay. I didn't like My Type.
My Type was unbelievable that it was the same vocalist.
It's a lot of this is just really bad pop music with hints of EDM. You can barely even call it EDM when it's just like adding a little electric sound box to it.
Okay. It won't kill you. That's where they try and do trap, because it has really hard hitting, hardcore like beat drops.
I actually like that song.
So because they did something extremely different. I kind of like it because they tried something extremely different, like dubstep almost. But it's actually not good, really.
It's good.
Like not actually good.
But it's the best thing on here. I think the vocalist
Luann, yeah.
She is actually pretty impressive, I think.
Talent show in France, obviously. Well, it could have been Canada. I think they've got French media there. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Oh yeah, pretty good song. Even though, well, not really, but I found it slightly enjoyable.
A lot of these instrumentals sound like something I could make on FL Studio. Like, these were not very complex or interesting instrumentals. They were very, very bland, very just enough to get that radio hit.
I forgot about the worst two songs in the album. I won't get into them yet, but I want to talk about how Paris is like slightly more bearable in the context of the album. What did you think?
I still didn't like the song. I didn't listen to the single beforehand, so this is my first time listening to
Right.
Paris. It's just frustrating that they keep singing about generic love pop songs and angsty teenage music when they're, how old are they? They can't be teenagers anymore.
Andrew Taggart is like 27 or 8.
He's old. He can't
I
be
don't know about
talking
the other
about
guy,
like,
but I'm guessing a similar age.
he can't be living in the past with his like angsty teenage years and like reflecting on his high school career that much. He's got to move on from that kind of shit.
That reminds me of in Nick Cave where Billy Corgan was saying something like, "Yeah, we teenagers don't know the difference between Australia and Europe," and then Nick Cave was like, "How old are you?" It's like 28. You're not a teenager then. I don't know why, but I don't know why. I don't know why like late 20 people still think they're teenagers. Maybe they're like holding on to the last bit of youth, but that's just something I remembered randomly there.
But yeah, if you want to
I
talk
thought it was like, oh, just quickly, I want to say like it sounded better hearing it in the album, standalone single, and it's a song about a couple breaking up and having a relationship falling apart, because they probably went to Paris thinking their relationship would ignite or get saved, but they'll go down together. It's kind of positive looking, because think about how many songs there are of relationships breaking down, and it's always someone's fault, the guy or the girl. But this one is like mutual. It's they're both understanding that the relationship's not working, but they're having the best time they can. It's a bit shallow and basic, but I thought it was slightly above average as far as radio pop goes. I thought that was a surprisingly decent re-evaluation of that song.
Yeah, it was okay. I just didn't like. I think that was one of the more bearable songs on here, but it was just all the songs on here are so lifeless. They're just very, very generic, trying to get on the radio kind of songs.
This first song, the one, technically it's written really well. Like if they got a better vocalist, it could sound like a good song. But it's Andrew Taggart singing it, and he's not a good vocalist, so it's shit, basically.
Yeah, he's not the best vocalist, and I don't expect him to be the best vocalist. I just think that if you're gonna do EDM pop music, you need an outstanding vocalist to even like differentiate yourself at all.
Yeah,
because there are so many EDM pop artists out there.
Good enough. That's right, and he does use some of them, but not enough. He shouldn't be using himself ever, even though I guess I can see why. But live in a delusion.
Was your least favorite song "Last Day Alive"?
It was, but it's coupled together with "Yun."
Yeah.
Odd, those two songs.
Those two are very, very bad. Very, very bad.
I want to say, more in depth, even though we don't want to. The two lines for both of them that just exemplify my initial hatred of them. So "Yun," I wrote, "Oh fuck no, it sounds so bad." In my note, because it does. It sounds so bad. And "Last Day Alive," I wrote, because this has a Florida Georgia line on it, even though you can't tell. 10 times better than this, fuck's sake. It is. I like that song 10 times better than "Last Day Alive." Without question. God. I think it has acoustic guitars and EDM. They never work together.
Well, the thing with "Last Day Alive" was, firstly, why Florida Georgia line? Like, I know like they're the biggest country, one of the biggest country musicians currently.
Bro country, God.
They're not good.
They're not good.
The song doesn't accomplish much because it just gets stuck in a loop, and this is the only time that autotune has made a person sound worse than normal.
Well, whenever someone uses it, the listener usually somewhat discredits their vocals because of it, because they think, oh, they're not good enough without autotune. But I've heard Florida Georgia Line sing with minimal autotune before. They can sing. It's really annoying, but they can. But the autotune on this is some of the worst I've ever heard put to tape.
It is. It's just abrasive. It's irritating, and literally that's all you get from it.
God. You know, I was going through this album okay, like I wasn't hating it. But if I knew there was an abominable T song waiting for me at the end, I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to go through it as easily as I had. Like, this is such a bad song. It's like hokey stadium rock that was also trying to be like a One Direction anthem, except it's also EDM. So it doesn't even sound remotely country. What was the point of getting them on?
I didn't get the song. It really didn't. It did not resonate with me at all. Well, this album did not resonate with me at all. And I think this album is just the most offensive aspect of this album was that it was boring. Because
I never thought it was that boring. I thought, like, maybe because I was listening intently to it, like, oh, the Chainsmokers' first album, need to soak up every small detail. I don't know why I want to do that, but
yeah,
but obviously you probably don't want to.
I was bored out of my mind. Every song had to do with adolescent angst. Every song had a very minimal pop intro with an EDM chorus. It was very routine. It was very systematic, and in the way they produced it.
Yeah.
And I think that
it took the last two songs for me to really not like this. I just want to talk quickly about why I hated Young, even though I'm sure you can guess because you hate it too.
Yeah.
But it's the most boring vocals I've ever heard in an EDM context. And somehow this is just the first song on here I really hated listening to. Like, I was regretting my life listening to this, and something about the acoustic guitars.
Don't forget about the lyrics. The lyrics are god-awful.
It's like another attempt at trying to be another 7 years, which is another terrible song, I think, but better, but the way the vocals sound, just the whole sentimentality. Who needs this song? If you want an EDM/electro pop song about, like, the same meaning about a young child, listen to, like, Don't You Worry Child by Swedish House Mafia, which isn't amazing, but it's a lot better than this, I'd say.
I really don't know what else to say about this album. I was just I didn't have any expectations, but I was still let down. Like, I had no expectations, and I was still let down.
Yeah. I have some options for you, Kush. I could go on, but we have to think of health and safety here at Busted Speakers. And talking about this album, it's threatening our health and safety. What do you think?
One more thing I want to talk about is they have on Wake Up Alone they have Jean Aiko. I hope it's in there right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
she
was on Big Sean's album.
Yeah, she's a Big Sean's girlfriend. I might be wrong about that.
/muse/friend, I don't know.
They're part of, like,
they're connected together.
They're part of that 2088 group or whatever.
That's right.
I was hoping that there would be a Big Sean collab on here, just to further exemplify how terrible Big Sean is.
Big Sean is better than this album to me.
Oh, Big Sean is easily better than this album.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, I decided sounds like album of the year compared to this.
What would you rate this album?
Oh, Kush. I mean,
gotta ask the questions. Gotta ask the hard questions, Alex.
We haven't even talked about how bad Break Up Every Night. Gets like an indie pop band to sing it. It sounds like a weird mix between One Direction, Arctic Monkeys. What are they doing? Bloodstream. No. Don't Say and what's it called? Paris. I did not mind. I'm never gonna add them to my music collection or playlists or anything. But if they came on the radio, and Paris obviously does because it's a radio hit, I do not mind them. Expectations for the Chainsmokers. I hope they get better. I'm not sure how, but I hope they do. Stick around, get better. May as well. Harry Styles. There's a guy who's gotten a lot better.
Oh boy, my boy.
He's become Kush's boy, and it takes a lot to become one of Kush's boys.
It's based on one song. The only song I've heard of him. I have not listened to many One Direction songs. I don't plan on it. But Harry Styles has put out a good song.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna. Oh, I mean, here's the thing. I didn't hate this album ever. I wasn't until Young/Last Day Alive. Boring. It's bland. It's some of the worst pop music put out today. Like, but even something just like this, I was tell Chris Martin was doing his best to try and make the song listenable. So I'm gonna be extremely generous and give this 4 out of 10.
Wow, that is very generous.
Look, I mean, Don't Say I'd say is a 7 out of 10 song, and Paris is a 6 out of 10. And most of this album is like 4 out of 10 tracks for me. It's only the last two that are 0 out of 10, throw it in the bin.
So for me,
4 out of 10.
This...
So, any Chainsmokers fans, you know who to talk to, it's me.
So for me, this album needs to go into the trash can. It needs to be.
The trash.
It just needs to just stop music.
Stop existing.
This album was a pain to listen to. Everything sounded like they got it off of SoundCloud, and by some like very amateur producer. The features, well, I'm not gonna judge the credibility of the features because I think the features were fine on their own, but they were ruined by the really bad production by the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
The lyrics were god awful throughout this entire album. I don't know. It's just I was bored out of my mind and I was cringing at some points. Like Break Up Every Night. That song was boring, unemotional, and
But they had a young upstart boy band. How could it be boring? It somehow manages.
Yeah, it was just it was rather painful to listen to. The last two songs I don't want to talk about. Those were just god awful songs.
Well, I talked about them for you, and I did not enjoy it. Did not enjoy it.
Yeah. So for me, this album was just very, very bunk, very boring, very lame.
Bunk. What? I've never heard that phrase before.
I think it's a phrase. I hope it's a phrase. No, I'm not sound stupid.
Bunk.
But yeah, so for me, this album was not good. I did not enjoy it. And I will say that the Chainsmokers, I want them to get better. Like I said, I don't want anyone to release a bad album. Well, besides Nickelback just for the meme value, but
I think Nickelback's album will be better than this.
Oh yeah, probably. Because at least with Nickelback, they have some sort of personality. This has no personality whatsoever. This sounds like anyone else in the pop realm could have made it. This has no defining characteristics
like the
Chainsmokers.
The Chainsmokers are the blandest musicians alive, and that is a very bad thing to say. No one wants to be called that. They'd rather be called the worst than the blandest.
But yeah, so I'm just kind of very, very hesitant. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10.
Well, I thought you were gonna give it like 1.
No, because I think that I did enjoy the Luann feature even a little bit. So
and you thought some songs were okay-ish.
Yeah, Paris was okay at best. Don't
Say.
Yeah, Don't Say was okay as well. So I think there are very, very slight redeeming qualities. So I'm just gonna let it just hang there. I'm not gonna go much further into it. Because I think if I overanalyze it, I could give this album a 0, and I don't want to do that yet.
I gave this the same score I gave Machine Messiah by Sepultura. Whoa.
But yeah. Well, if that's it, then thanks for tuning to Busted Speakers. We hope you enjoy this episode. Let us know what you think about Memories Do Not Open in the comment below. And check us out on social media.
Yeah.